Okay, let's make a dubstep beat. There's a lot of different ways to make a dubstep beat. So if you're a big fan of dubstep, the beat I'm about to make, you might say, that doesn't sound like dubstep. But just remember, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Okay, so we're gonna make like a really basic dubstep beat, like super basic, and then we'll pick apart some tracks and we'll build up on it a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my basic beat. Okay, so let's go here. Let's make some sound. So I have a kick. Let's do that. Kick, snare, and let's go to our hi-hat. And let's do that. Eighth notes in our hi-hat. Okay. Okay, so let's hear what we've got here. And I've got my metronome on. Let's turn that off. Okay, back to our basic beat, right? This is definitely not dubstep. Okay, first thing we need to do is let's get in the ballpark of the tempo that we want to be at, which is about 140 BPM, a little higher, a little lower. So let's go up to 140 BPM. Let's hear our basic beat at 140. Okay, still not too phenomenal. Okay, now, dubstep has a halftime feel to it. And what that means is that we're going to take this and we're going to basically zoom in so that these first two beats take up the whole bar. Okay, so that means I'm going to stretch everything out. So I'm going to put this over here and this all the way onto the next beat or the next bar. Okay, so that goes there and that goes there. Let me zoom out. Okay. And then I need to continue these. Okay, so we really just stretched out what we were doing, right? We had our kick on 1 and 3, and then 2 and 2.3 is where it would have been. But instead, we just pulled it apart so that the kick is now on 1, and then on 1 of the second bar, and our snare, instead of being on 2 and 4, is on 3 and 3, right? So we really pulled it out, stretched it apart, so that 2 bars will feel like one big bar, right? That's kind of how dubstep works. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite with our hi-hats. We're going to like just really crank these up to be like cooking. Okay. And now we're going to add a little bit of flavor to these. So I'm going to take some of these. I'm going to really kind of finesse the velocities here. Because in dubstep, we pay a lot of attention to our velocities. Or to our hi-hats, I should say. Okay, so let's see. Let's do that. I basically want most of them to be quieter. But I'm going to let some be a little louder to make those louder ones have like kind of a cool accent. Okay, I'm just shift clicking these to select them and pulling those velocities down. Okay, that's basically it. Okay, so let's hear what we've got. Okay, now there's one more thing I want to do, and that's double up this kick. Put that right there. Okay, so I'm going to add another kick right before 2-2 on the last 16th note. Okay, and feel how those hi-hats have like kind of their own little groove going. Let's hear just those hi-hats. It's subtle, right? But there's a feel to it. Pull the rest of the beat back in. Okay, so that's our most basic pattern that we use in dubstep. So now the one other thing that comes in here is typically a lot of extra little percussion sounds. Okay, so let's dive into a track and see if we can make something cool.